The purpose of this video is to further discuss various chart elements and how we can format them. So in the previous video, I talked to you about how everything on this chart is clickable and formatable, and so we're going to continue that conversation. And the first thing we're going to look at is the difference between the chart area and the plot area. So I have here my pie chart. Notice when I move my mouse pointer over certain areas of the chart. So I'm up here in the upper left corner. See how it says it's the chart area? And if I move it closer to the pie chart, but still in this white area, notice how this is saying this is the plot area. So it's important to note that there is a difference between the chart area and the plot area. And I'm going to show you this we're going to first format the chart area, and then I'm going to go and format the plot area. So right now, our chart area and plot area is this boring white background. So I want to format that to be a color. So I'm going to actually close out of this because that's something else I was doing. So I'm going to go up here to the chart area, and I'm going to double click. And we learned this in the previous video. If you double click something, basically it brings up all the format options for that area that you have selected. So I see here for my format chart area that I'm on the fill in line icon selection, because remember we have different ones. This one's effects, so this one's the size and properties. And fill in line is where I want to be. Right now it's set at automatic, which is just this boring old white. And what I want to do is I want to make it a texture. Notice I could pick a solid color. I could do gradient, but I'm going to go down and pick picture or texture fill. And you see it just sort of picks one. And the one that it picked here was probably one I just used recently. But I want to go down here to where it says texture, and this is where I can actually pick what texture I want. Notice it's picture or texture fill, which means you could actually put a picture as the background. So let's say you had a picture of something. You could either insert it from the file, or you could go online and locate a picture of something. So if your chart was about water, let's say, you could have a background of the beach, okay? But we're going to do texture. So we're going to come over here to texture, and just notice that each of these have a specific name. So if they ask you to pick a specific one, for example, this is blue tissue paper. So if I pick blue tissue paper now, my chart area is all blue tissue paper. And interestingly enough, my plot area also takes on that same area as the chart area. But I just want to point out that it is different, because if I did just the plot area, so now I've selected the plot area, notice here that this still says it's automatic. So if I can set the picture or texture fill here as well. And so if I go to picture or texture fill, I mean, there's really no reason why you would do this, but let's say I picked newsprint. So notice here, this really calls out the difference between the two. So this area here is my plot area. This is the plot area. This is the chart area. And you really see that when you are over here in a different type of chart. See here, this is the chart area, right? And this area over here behind the chart, this is the plot area. Another way that you can, instead of moving your mouse around trying to figure out, well, where's the plot, where's the chart, if you go over to the Format tab here, you can select any part of the chart from here, which is really kind of a nice feature. So if you're having trouble, say, even selecting the chart area, you could say chart area. If you're having trouble selecting the horizontal axis, you could pick that. And so instead of clicking on it on the chart, you can pick it from this list, and then you could click on Format Selection. So that's the same as double clicking something, which I think is kind of nice. All right, we're going to go back to our pie chart here. So we talked about the difference between the chart area and the plot area. The next thing I want to show you is that you also have the ability to format individual pieces of the pie here. So watch what happens when I click on one piece of the pie, any piece of the pie, it doesn't matter. If you look real closely, you will see here that there are little dots that are handles that are picking each piece of the pie. But I want to format just this accountants and auditors one. So now I'm going to click on this one again. So it's like a double click, right? It's a click. It's not a quick double. It's not like a quick double click, but it's two clicks. So one click gets all of the pieces. The next click gets the accountants and auditors piece, which is the one that I want to format. And I can tell that because two reasons. One is it shows that the handles are just here. But when I look over here on format, you notice it says Series 1 Point Accountants and Auditors. And so that's the other way I could have selected it. So I want to change, because we have three different color blues here. I think it gets a little confusing. I actually want to change the color. So notice I could do a gradient fill, picture, texture fill. This time I'm just going to do a regular old solid fill. And I'm going to go down to color here, and I'm going to pick purple just because purple is not at all in there. Makes it hard to see my dark text on the purple, but we're going to fix that another way in a second. I could also like change the transparency of it, right? See how that's making it like a little bit lighter, right? That's one of the things I can do. The other cool thing you can do if you want to call attention to a particular piece is you can actually pull that piece out of the pie. And the way that you do that is it's not under this fill in line area, but it's over here under series options. And for series options, you can see here that you have point explosion. So that's basically exploding the piece of pie out from the others. Okay. What's cool is you could actually drag this piece out. In your homework assignment, they're going to want you to explode it by a certain percentage. But in the real world, just being able to pull the piece out is kind of cool, right? What you want to be careful of is when you do this, that just one piece is selected, because if they're all selected, you're basically going to sort of explode them all from each other, which is not what you want to do. Okay, and using the same idea here, I'm going to show you that if you could also do a texture fill. So I've now selected just the human resources piece. I'm going to go back to my fill in series. I'm going to do a texture fill here. I'm going to pick a certain texture, and let's say I decide that I want it to be wood green for whatever reason. So you can see how you can do that as well, which is kind of nice. Okay, I think that's all I want to talk about in this video. Oh no, one more thing. Sorry about that. I talked about the data labels here. So here are my data labels. I've selected, notice when I click on one, they all become selected. I can also give these a fill background. So if I go to solid fill, let's say, and I give it sort of a lighter gray background, right? See how those now pop. They're not hard to read at all, which is kind of cool, okay? And using the same mentality as the data labels, if for whatever reason I only wanted to format one of them differently, so I want to give that a different color background. Let's say I want to do green. I just selected it individually, and so you can see how that one has a different color background than all the rest. So just be mindful when you're formatting things of what you have selected, whether it's all of them or one of them, and then you just basically go over to this area here and pick whatever you want to do to them. Okay, see you in the next video.